Hi everyone, welcome to Extended Family Waterloo Region's 40th anniversary celebration. We're so happy for you to be joining us tonight. My name is Devin Fernandez, and I'll be your host for this hour of fun. I've been involved with Extended Family for over 5 years, from starting as a volunteer to now being a member of the board of directors and co-founding the KW Library of Things in between. We would like to acknowledge the significant contributions and accomplishments of Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditions and knowledge of Indigenous peoples with whom we share this land today. We respectfully acknowledge the land on which we inhabit today is in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Neutral peoples. We are currently situated on the Haldimand Tract, land promised to 6 nations, which includes 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Fostering a strong community is important to me, where I live, work, and volunteer, and strong relationships are foundational to that. As a settler, I think it's important that we respect all our relations with people and the land, and keep that in mind while we celebrate Extended Family Waterloo Region tonight. We have an exciting hour of history, stories, and celebrations coming up. So here's a quick overview of what to expect tonight. You'll hear from Alan Mills, Executive Director of Extended Family Waterloo Region. You'll get to watch the premiere of the 40th anniversary film, as well as hear from Liz Headley, who is the chairperson of the Board of Directors. The Maria de Boers Changemaker Award winner will also be revealed, and we have something special to share from our staff, direct support people, and our families, as well as the people we serve. You'll notice Extended Family Waterloo Region trivia questions sprinkled throughout the hour. We want you to guess the answers and put them in the live chat. Everyone who participates will be entered into a draw that will take place on Facebook Live on Monday. Tonight, our chat will be monitored by staff members, so feel free to ask questions and make comments during our program tonight. Grab your popcorn, snacks, and drinks, get comfortable, and let's get started. I'd like to introduce Alan Mills, the current Executive Director of Extended Family Waterloo Region, and he has been in this position for 4 years, but has been connected with us and some of the folks we serve for much, much longer.
Hello everyone, my name is Al Mills, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director at Extended Family Waterloo Region. I'm excited to join you this evening as we celebrate this milestone in Extended Family's history. One of our legendary stories, and it's true, is that Extended Family started with a conversation around a kitchen table. A kitchen table, a dining room table, the rec room, the living room. It all started with a group of 4 families that got together to talk about their dreams for the relationships and the life in community that their children could enjoy. Now, 40 years later, we support 2,000 children and adults who have developmental disabilities across Waterloo Region. And our goal continues to keep things informal, intimate, and with a focus on relationship. I first became connected with Extended Family back in the early 90s when my friend Chris moved to Kitchener to be supported through the Family Home Program. I was always very impressed with the Extended Family way of doing things. There was such a focus on Chris. He was respected as an adult, he was treated as an individual, and his informal support circle was respected as well, as basically as his family. And Extended Family worked really hard to welcome Chris to this community and to help him become an active member. And many years later, about 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to join this amazing team as Executive Director, and I jumped at the chance. It really felt like I was coming home. And I just am so impressed by the work of our team, constantly seeking to build community for the people that use our services. Anyone who's had the chance to see my office knows that I'm a big fan of Batman. I just love the idea of tackling life with the confidence and passion of a 4-year-old kid in a Batman t-shirt. That passion and love for life is something that my friend Chris and I share in common. You'll meet Chris later this evening when we have an opportunity to watch the documentary. Chris is more into jamming and cheering for the Kitchener Rangers than he is sharing a chat down memory lane. But we did enjoy some time together reflecting on some of our stories. If you ask me how I knew I was coming home, I'd tell you about one of the first ideas that a member of our team pitched to me shortly after I started. She wanted to know what I would think about Extended Family partnering with Descendants Brewery in a celebration of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities that we would call Cheers to Inclusion. Well, sign me up. Our favorite hashtag is BetterTogetherWR, meaning that we believe Waterloo Region is a better community when everyone has a seat at the table. Meaningful connection, it's something that we all value, and it's something that we all lost in many ways a year and a half ago when the pandemic hit. Sadly, that sense of isolation that we all experienced is something that many people with disabilities experience in an ongoing way. During the pandemic, we got creative and we focused on being virtually better together. I'm so proud of our team, our entire team. Especially, I think about our direct support people, our coordinators, and our family home providers who all worked hard to make a difference every day. Extended Family envisions a community where everyone belongs and is valued for their contributions. And we still have a lot of work to do to ensure that everyone's contributions are welcome. We have an exciting program ahead for you. I want to say thank you to everyone involved in the planning of this celebration and to Devin for hosting. And thank you to each of you who have joined us this evening for the party from your own homes. We believe in a community where everyone belongs, and that includes you. Join us as we reflect upon where we've been and where we're going. Cheers to inclusion, and cheers to the next 40 years of Waterloo Region better together.
What year was Extended Family Waterloo Region founded? A. 1986, B. 1975, C. 1981, or D. 1949. The answer is C. 1981.
In April 1981, Kitchener-Waterloo Extended Family was incorporated. In 1984, Maria DeBoer was the first staff member hired, with 14 families on her caseload. The respite program was first introduced in 1987. In 1988, our office moved to 26 College Street. In 1990, we became responsible for the Family Home Program. In 1992, the Wales Group, Working Adults Learning Empowering Skills, began as a pilot project. In the year 2000, we changed our name to Extended Family Waterloo Region. Our office moved to 74 Queen Street North in the year 2000. Extended Family was selected as the sole provider of special services at home for Waterloo Region in the year 2000. In 2001, our website was created. In 2006, our office moved to 91 Moore Avenue. We held our first Walker Wheel event in 2007. In 2010, our first documentary, Count Us In, premiered at Princess Cinemas. Open Space was launched at Queen Street Commons in 2011. The first I Choose Dignity, Count Me In March took place in 2012. In 2017, we held our first Cheers to Inclusion at Descendants Brewery. We hosted our first block party fundraiser in 2018. The Kitchener-Waterloo Library of Things opened in 2018.
Extended Family Waterloo Region has so many stories and so much history, and we decided it was important to document them. Let's watch the film together now.
We need to stop using the word disabled. We need to start using the word able, because we are able to make a difference in people's lives. I want people to know that I'm a very powerful musician and a very powerful self-advocate.
Work your best and give it your 110% and get things done to the best of your ability. Everyone should be included, not excluded.
I am a role model because I give a smile. Never get upset. No, don't do that. Just keep a smile.
It was a very different world then in a lot of ways. And the idea of persons with developmental challenges having their own friends and being part of another family to some extent was pretty new.
I remember thinking how great the idea was of having somebody take Jenny into their home maybe, or just be a friend to her.
It felt like this could be something that could really support us. Family was really important, and everybody around the table, well, many of us were parents, and had experienced that feeling of not being listened to. We were coming at it from the perspective of the child and their family, and what was important for them, and yeah, trying to bring families together that shared some of those values. We had a core group, and from that group, we developed the first board of directors. There were lots of muffins and coffee, and good friendships developed. There was a lot of excitement and lots of good ideas, some worries, of course, as well. But it was really an exciting time because we were pursuing a dream, an idea.
The first place we moved into was a house in downtown Kitchener, and the Center for Research and Education was upstairs. I wanted it to look friendly and welcoming to parents. And then we moved a few years later, filled up our shopping carts down the street to 12 College, and it had a living room, a kitchen, and the secretary was in the kitchen, as was the accountant. And then we kind of held our meetings on the front porch or the backyard. But it was a welcoming place that was important to us. And from there we moved to a house across the library. And we started to grow at that point, so we had people in closets, we had people sharing offices. But still, it was a place that you didn't mind coming to. And then finally we moved to the building on Moore.
I think the community was more ready than we thought they were. We felt that they wouldn't be as ready, that our children maybe couldn't find their place the same way with another family. And yeah, we found out that not only did our kids like it, but the other families spoke about the value to their family. And so it was really reciprocal, which was lovely.
think the difference between Extended Family and maybe other agencies who are doing the same kind of work is that Extended Family is we really care about the matching process. And I know that was true for when Allison and I started working together. Ken really took the time to get to know Allison and I and what we were looking for in a match. What things do you have in common? And those are the things that are really gonna sustain a match, is when you have that connection, that like true connection. You were very young. You were only 4. You were about to turn 5. It was like around dinner time one night. I showed up for our match visit, and I just remember knocking at the door and your parents hollering like, "Come on in!" And as I opened the door, this little one with like just her long like white blonde hair just came racing at me. It was like, "Are you Lonan?" I was like, "I am Lonan." And that's what she called me for the first few years. And then you ran and you threw yourself off the steps onto me, like right on me. And it was, I knew right then that I was like, oh, I think this is gonna work.
Chris moved several times while supported by Extended Family. So we were just involved informally in all of those things and continued to be friends. And Chris would come and spend weekends with my family, sort of informal respite. And then at one point, he had a family home that was breaking down. He needed a place to go, and he ended up moving in with my wife and I and spent about a year with us. Chris came camping with us. We just did everything together. Loves water, so anytime we could get him in water, in a pool or in a lake, we go to concerts or hockey games together. Chris just loves the energy of other people, being in a crowd, and loves music, anything involving music. And I play guitar, so we often will jam together. Chris moved on in a full-time basis, but we've remained friends ever since. We finish? Extended Family's uniqueness stems from a lot of different things, but certainly the vision that our founders had when Extended Family was first coming together. Helen and Keith Heimpel and the people that they gathered with just really foundationally believed in the importance of relationships, and that everyone should have an opportunity to contribute and to be respected for who they are and what they bring to the table or to the group or to the community. And I think Maria championed that and built a culture that in this organization that just really wants to see others achieve and to respect each person as an individual, to see the gifts that they have and the contributions they can make. I mean, that's the goal of any organization in this kind of field, but somehow the way that Extended Family approaches it on a very individualized and tailored basis just really, I think, makes a positive difference for a lot of people.
What makes Extended Family unique is its culture, its beliefs, its vision and mission to stay and believe and walk alongside families, that everyone belongs, and how to ensure that everyone belongs. They see the family as the experts. They trust the family. How Extended Family started from a kitchen table, and look at it now. The number of staff, the number of leadership, the number of programming, the number of events and impacts they've had on children's lives. They serve and support more families and children than most organizations do with less staff because of their heart.
We envision a community in which everyone belongs and is valued for their contributions. So not just welcomed, but recognize that they're making a difference and that our community is better because of each person that's part of it.
It's that inclusion, that community, the understanding that it's okay to be sad sometimes, to be happy, they really understand those small wins that for some families are just natural, and for us were like humongous.
The 40th anniversary of an extended family means a lot to me because I was part of it and I am in part of it. As an advocate, I would go out and talk and to voice my opinion and voice my views on like disability, the word disability, and to be like, you know, this doesn't represent who I am.
Including isn't enough. People have to belong. So you can include me, it doesn't mean that I'm going to belong. So for us, it's more, I think, about belonging, even than it is inclusion. It's coming, but there's so much work to be done.
Open space is belonging to everyone. So, like talking to them and like chatting, or sometimes we watch a movie. Sometimes play games, like those or different activities.
It's that sense of belonging and acceptance. Like that's all anybody wants, regardless if they have a disability, they don't, they have something that's different, that they are looked at, they're respected, they're loved, they're cared for, they're heard.
We seek to come alongside people and help them to achieve the things that they want to achieve, grow in the ways that they want to grow, attain the goals they have for themselves. Our only success is vicariously through the successes of the people that use our services.
Our little working group could never have imagined what extended family would be today.
No.
Yeah, never, in our wildest dreams.
We need to spread this message all over the world so everybody can agree to it. We will keep spreading this message like lightning and thunder and let it echo through the streets because we have a fire in our hearts that is deep and passionate about being able.
What an inspirational movie where we heard about families coming together to meet a need in their community, where children feel like they wanted friendships and a place where they really belonged. This demonstrates just how innovative and grassroots this movement was, and how far we've come. It's incredible to see the values instilled in the organization so many years ago are still visible and guiding the work that we do every day. A big thank you to Matt Brickman and of Matt Brickman Creative, who spent hours filming on set, spending time with our film stars, and then hours of editing to create this incredible film that you will have for years to come. Let us know what you think about the film and comment in the chat. What did you learn? What did you love? And what surprised you? If you want to re-watch the film or share it with your family and friends, it will be accessible for viewing on our YouTube channel so that you can watch it at any time.
What do all these places have in common? A, they were all home to Extended Family Waterloo Region. B, they all had amazing work happen in them. C, they were all located in Kitchener-Waterloo. Or D, all of the above. The answer is D, all of the above.
It's now my honor to introduce the board chairperson of Extended Family Waterloo Region, Liz Headley. Liz has been involved with the board for the last 8 years and has been the chairperson for the last 4. Liz has worked in Waterloo Region over the past 25 years in the developmental services sector and currently at Family and Children's Services. For the past 26 years, Liz's interest and passion, as well as commitment, continues to be the focus of supporting children, youth, and families in our community.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Liz Headley, and I've had the privilege of chairing the Board of Directors for Extended Family for the Waterloo Region for the past 4 years, and I've been on the board for the past 8 years. On behalf of all of the current directors, including Thomasina and Caitlin, Ryan, Daisy, Jamie, Devon, Melissa, Adnan, Sigrid, and Chris, as well as the community members who volunteer to support the organization as part of our board committees, including Sharon and Keith, Laura, Marissa, Kathy, Susan, Mia, and Jackie. I would truly like to welcome you to this evening's program. Thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate 40 years of Extended Family of the Waterloo Region. Extended Family was created by a group of community members just like our board members and volunteers today, who were passionate about creating opportunities for people to connect and build relationships. Tonight we're here to honor everyone who has been a part of that journey. I would like to specifically acknowledge the 9 founding members of Extended Family of the Waterloo Region, who on March 5th, 1981 signed the very first document of incorporation, which brought Kitchener-Waterloo Extended Family Association, which was known then, into being. Linda Bernhardt, Bonnie Gannon, Helen Heipel, Alan Hitch, Penelope McVicker, Mary McFadden, Angela Sims, Alison O'Farrell, and Stephen Woodworth. Thank you all for coming to the table over 40 years ago and setting us all on this path of inclusion and belonging. Tonight, we've had the opportunity to hear from Helen Heipel about what brought her and her family to the Extended Family of the Waterloo Region table. I wish I could go back in time to hear the stories that brought each of the founding members together and what sparked their desire to create Extended Family of the Waterloo Region. In that 1981 document, our original 9 founding members outlined the purposes of Extended Family of the Waterloo Region were to promote growth and development through friendship and experiences, develop trusting friendships within family members, and finally to foster community awareness of the rights of people and to share the life in the community. Each of our current board members and our volunteers share a story similar to that you've heard earlier in the video that drew them to Extended Family. It was their passion, along with the dedication of our on-site team members, incredible community-based direct support providers, and people and families that we serve that continue to drive us all to share our time and our talents to ensure that we live up to the ideals and purposes outlined more than 40 years ago. As we reflect on where we started, 9 people sitting around a kitchen table, and where we are now, today, more than 200 dedicated staff, volunteers, and board members, supporting over 2,000 people and families, it is so exciting to think of where we're going next. We know that we will continue to learn as an organization and grow to ensure that our services and our supports are always meeting the needs of the people we serve, while staying true to the values, principles, and purposes that are at the heart of where we began, of how we do our work today and every day. Thank you again for joining us this evening and being part of the Extended Family Waterloo Region story.
What year did Extended Family Waterloo Region launch its first website? A, 1999, B, 2001, C, 2003, or D, 2004? The answer is B, 2001.
Extended Family Waterloo Region is always looking for ways to celebrate and honor others who are making a difference in our community. It's no surprise that they have created an award given to a person who identifies as living with a disability, who is a change maker in our community. Courtney Horowitz will now present the 2021 Maria DeBoer's Changemaker Award. Courtney has been working with Extended Family Waterloo Region for 10 years, currently serving as the agency's Director of Operations, supporting our finances, IT, and community engagement teams. Beginning in the field as a direct support person, she has also been a support coordinator and worked with teams throughout the agency to implement new systems and processes in a project management role. Her favorite day at Extended Family is any one where she gets the opportunity to wear the Albright alligator suit at one of Albright Glass's Tint and Chip In for charity events, which she counts as 4th on her list of top 5 personal accomplishments.
Hi, my name is Courtney Horowitz, and I have had the honor this year of chairing the nomination and selection committee for the 2021 Maria DeBoer Changemaker Award. Supported by a generous donor, this $500 cash prize was first awarded in 2018, shortly after Maria's retirement following more than 30 years of service to Extended Family Waterloo Region, with the goal of honoring someone in our community with a disability who embodied the spirit of Maria. Having had an opportunity to work with Maria for a number of years, I'd like to take a moment to talk more about what that spirit means. If I was asked to describe Maria in 3 words, they would be kind, quiet, and fierce. I know, that last word probably feels like a bit of an outlier, but Maria was, and remains, a truly fierce advocate for everyone having a seat at the table, and that the true meaning of inclusion and belonging should be defined by people with disabilities, not defined by agencies or service providers. I've often referred to Maria's style of fierceness as leading from behind, always looking for ways to amplify the voices of others, rather than trying to be the voice for others. And the Changemaker Award looks for someone who makes an impact in our community in a similar way. They may not be the person leading the march or speaking from a lectern, but they wake up every day and seek opportunities to create a positive difference in the lives of others, just like Maria does. We are looking for people who change the way things are done, or change how people think about things. And most importantly, we look for someone who continues to make an effort to be a force for change, even if the results aren't necessarily what they had hoped for yet. How do we find these change makers? We ask the community who's made an impact on their life over the past year. Each person nominated was identified by someone in Waterloo Region who noticed their particular brand of kind, quiet fierceness and shared their story. These stories are then shared with a group of people who have volunteered their time to do the difficult work of assessing each nomination against the criteria, inspired by the way Maria inspires others. Thank you to Jeff, Tristan, and Beth for your thoughtful review. It was definitely not an easy task. This year, we were fortunate to read the stories of 3 excellent finalists. We met Stephanie, who has been a glue for those in her social circle, ensuring that people are connecting and maintaining their relationships during the COVID-19 pandemic. We met Hoden, who connects with others through her work at EAFWR's Open Space and the African Family Revival Organization Girls Sports Program to encourage new Canadians to become more involved with each other and our community. And we met Peter, another open space facilitator who brings positive energy, empathy, and natural mediation skills to bring people together. Thank you to everyone who nominated these fantastic changemakers, and thank you to each nominee for the difference you make every day. And now, I'd like to announce the winner of the 2021 Maria DeBoer Changemaker Award and share what their nominator had to say about what made them a perfect fit. The winner is Hoden Hashi, nominated by Mona Laufelman. This is what Mona has to say about Hoden. Hoden Hashi is an integral part of the Kitchener-Waterloo community. As a University of Ryerson alumni, Hoden has studied finance. She has used her personal motivation to work as an active member of the community. Hoden Hashi is a generous person who consistently sparks change and positivity within our community. She has a part-time job and takes initiative to help act as a facilitator at Open Space with EAFWR. Hoden encourages members of our community who are often less represented, such as newly arrived refugees, to attend Afro Girls Sports Program. Despite Hoden's physical disability, she has remained an active community leader, and her contribution to the community becomes all the more impressive when you consider the many personal health challenges she herself has endured over the years. Hoden regularly volunteers her precious time with Afro, a weekly meeting intended to support inclusion within the community regardless of race, religion, gender, and ability. She sets an example, especially for young women, about how to positively contribute and promote inclusion within the community by encouraging members of our community to become aware of and understand the different life experiences of people living in our community. I would say she is selfless and committed to providing great service to her community through her kindness, generosity, openness, and honesty. I highly recommend Houghton for the Maria DeBoer Changemaker Award. She is truly a gem and deserves recognition for the great work that she is doing. And now we're going to hear from Houghton.
I would like to thank Extend a Family for the Maria DeBoer Changemaker Award and Mona Laufelman from Afro for nominating me. Mona does a wonderful job trying to help African families in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. I truly enjoy connecting with people from all walks of life. I am always happy to support and spend time with a diverse group of people in the community. There is so much we can learn from each other. The Maria DeBoer Changemaker Award is an excellent way to recognize and encourage people with disabilities. I thank you again for the award. It is an honor to receive it.
How many executive directors have led Extend a Family Waterloo Region over the years? A, 7, B, 1, C, 4, or D, 2? The answer is D, 2.
Relationships have always been a strong foundation of the work we do. We continue to be inspired by the families and the people we support. We are #BetterTogetherWR. Enjoy a video from Extend a Family Waterloo Region and our community. Today is the International Day for Persons with Disabilities. The goal is to promote the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities in all aspects of society. Around the world, persons with disabilities face physical, social, economic, and attitudinal barriers that exclude them from participating fully and effectively as members of our community. This year, the theme is Not All Disabilities Are Visible. The day aims to raise awareness of disabilities which may not be immediately apparent, but still have an impact on people's lives. We'd like to introduce you to Ryan McTavish, self-advocate and founder of Start Living Acceptance. Ryan has a long relationship with Extended Family Waterloo Region. As host of Rock for Autism, an event created to raise autism awareness and funds for Extended Family Waterloo Region, and he was recognized for his inclusion and advocacy efforts in Extended Family Waterloo Region's Cheer for Inclusion celebration in 2018. Let's have a listen to what he has to say about inclusion.
One of the things that I've found in my work as an advocate for inclusion and acceptance is the fact that people are actually willing to learn more, are willing to learn how to better include and to better accept other people. I think the work that Extended Family is doing, for example, with the use of peer vacationers, it actually gives people from the outside an ability to see what's going on the inside, to see things that they may not experience, to see things they may not see outside of that bubble, for them to experience new ways of learning how to accept people with needs different than their own. I think the work of the Extended Family and the use of, for example, things like peer vacationers really helps build the line of inclusion in our community.
Approximately how many people, families, does Extended Family Waterloo Region support? A, 1,000, B, 800, C, 2,000, D, 500. And the answer is C, 2,000.
Better Together for Books is a virtual auction in support of Extended Family Waterloo Region's newest initiative, Turning the Page Together. The money raised through our online auction will go towards purchasing books about and written by people with a disability so they can be found in little libraries throughout Waterloo Region. We hope to spark curiosity and create awareness around disability, inclusion, and belonging. For more information and to access the auction, visit our 40th anniversary webpage, social media, and we'll put a link in the chat for you too. The auction is only live until December 10th. We hope you will join us to be part of a larger community conversation. Better Together for Books includes you.
That brings us to the end of our celebration tonight. Thank you for spending this hour with us. We hope you enjoyed it. We need to thank so many people who were involved in our 40th anniversary initiatives that have taken place over the last year. Please join me in thanking the following incredible people. Pratap Thiagaraj for helping us pull together tonight's virtual event. Matt Brickman of Matt Brickman Creative for his incredible work on Extended Family Waterloo Region's documentary. And thank you to all those who committed time and energy to star in our documentary or organize logistics behind the scenes. Thank you to our board of directors and staff members for their ongoing and continued support. Thank you to Al, our executive director, who continues to lead the organization and ensure that we remain focused and committed to creating a community where everyone belongs. And a huge thank you to Maria DeBoers for her dedication, passion, and leadership over the last 35 years. Thank you to Keith and Helen Heimpel for having the vision and dream of creating a community of inclusion and belonging. And lastly, We thank you, the families, the people we serve, our DSPs, and family home providers. You continue to inspire us every day. You are truly the face of Extended Family Waterloo Region, and we thank you for the difference you've made over the last 40 years, and we can't wait to support you over the next 40 years. We now invite you to join us on Zoom to say hello to old friends, meet new friends, and just connect with one another to celebrate these 40 years. We'll put the Zoom link in the chat, and Extended Family staff will be live to say hello as well. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and have a wonderful night.